I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of this clean girl aesthetic era, whatever you want to call it. Because when I was a teenager, I was waking up at 4:30 every single morning just to fry off my damp hair until it was straight, take on some eyeliner, and still look in the mirror and be unhappy with what I look like and who I was. Nowadays, I truly feel like teenagers are being taught the importance of skincare and hair care. They can just wake up an hour before school, do a slicked back Hailey Bieber look, and put on minimal makeup, and it's socially accepted because it's the clean girl look. I've gone to stores where the cashiers are wearing star pimple patches. I've gone to stores where people are wearing whatever they're called, the under eye patches. I've even showed up to work with pimple patches on my face because it's just the norm nowadays. Alrighty, guys. So as you can see, I have my new microphone, I have a new light, and I have a new background. So I'm really pumped to be making this video for you guys today just because I feel like the quality of the videos are only going to go up from here. And yeah, I'm just really excited. So let's get into it. Before we begin, I just want to start out with a little bit of disclaimer that I am not anti heavy makeup, extensions, lashes. I do all of those things in my life still. I just don't do it as often as I used to. I don't believe the lie that the reason women do all of these things is for men. I was told that a lot, like growing up.
You're only doing this to impress this guy.
And I just never really felt like that was true. I work in an office full of women and I do my hair and makeup all the time. And I don't, so it's obviously not for men. I don't believe that whatsoever. These are just the revelations that I've come to in my life, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then that's okay. So, for a little bit of background information, I feel like in my life, I was only really taught in my adolescence about the importance of natural beauty from a perspective of shame. This really did stem from a lot of Christian environments that I grew up in, like at camp. A lot of the staff members would kind of look down upon us if we decided to take longer than 10 minutes on our hair, put some mascara on. They'd always be like, well, why are you doing that? We're about to go outside and do all these fun things. You don't need to do your hair. You don't need to do your makeup. And so I just really felt shamed by like wanting to do that and having the desire to do that for myself in the morning. And this wasn't when I was a young kid, right? This wasn't when I was in second or third grade. I would say it was probably around like middle school time, late middle school. And then in high school at camp as well, this was definitely a thing. So I really did feel a lot of guilt around just wanting to make myself feel good and put together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I definitely did at the time. I understand if you're a young kid where that concern comes in, but as you get older, I feel like there's really nothing wrong with taking care of yourself in the way that makes you feel comfortable in your body. So I want to share the greatest piece of advice that I received a few years back that I just really took into my life. I just want to share it with you guys because it's changed my life so much. Invest as much money as you would on makeup, hair extensions, lash extensions, and put that into stuff like hair care, skin care, lash care, just stuff that's going to make you feel more comfortable naturally, So, for example, I used to wear hair extensions and they were the tape and hair extensions. So basically, my hair was sandwiched in between two pieces of the tape. And I would invest probably $200 every 4 months on these. The reason being is because I bought them off of Amazon. So I put them in my hair myself. They're actually a lot more if you just go to the salon, but I wanted to cut those costs, but it was still very pricey. I would get them every 4 months, but every 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, I would move them up. So that also took a lot of time to keep up with. And I always hated the way that my hair looked growing up. I hated how short it was. I hated how thin it was. I hated how it never grew past a certain length. And the truth is that these extensions made that problem 10 times worse. But I didn't care at the time because in my head, I was thinking, well, I'm just going to keep putting these extensions in to cover it up. And it doesn't matter what my real hair actually looks like because I'm just going to have extensions in all the time. So it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? But sometimes when I was in that refresh phase before I put my new extensions in, I would go a few days without those extensions. And I hated how I looked. I did not recognize myself at all. I didn't feel myself. I had a lot of bald spots because of these tape-in extensions, what they were leaving behind, the residue, and trying to rip those out. And one day I just decided that enough is enough. That's actually when I heard that advice to invest in hair care and skincare and all of that instead of investing in extensions. That's when I decided that I wanted to take my hair extensions out. So I wanted to invest in products that would make my hair better in the long run. So this is my hair before I decided to take the extensions out. It was very frail, very weak, and I invested in Nutrafol. Nutrafol is $80 a month, which sounds like a lot, but in the long run, it's actually cheaper than continuing to buy hair extensions over and over. So an $80 investment is actually worth it when you put it in that perspective. I've been on Nutrafol for about 2 years now, and as you can tell, my hair is a lot fuller. It's definitely not as long as I would like, but it's a lot fuller, and that just like makes me really happy. It makes me more confident in myself. I invested in hair oil, I invested in a head massager, and I invested in leave-in conditioner. Like I said, these are not cheap. They're still an investment, but they're just better for you in the long run. A good hair oil is going to be about $10 to $15. A leave-in conditioner, maybe $20 if you get a really good one. And Nutrafol is pretty expensive, but that was worth it to me. So I'm not going to lie, guys. The first few days when I took my extensions out, I felt like a wet rat. Like I had to be ugly to get hot. Does that make sense? I had to allow myself and be okay with the fact that like my hair was going to look a little ratchet for a little bit. And you know what? That's okay because I kept telling myself it's going to get better. It's going to get better. I was doing the slicked back hairstyle. So I'd just show up to work every day with my hair slicked back in oil, just soaking in this leave-in conditioner. And I know people say that tight hairstyles aren't good for hair growth, but it definitely helped with those beginning stages of feeling a little bit less like a rat. But I still do have clip-in extensions, and I use those just for special occasions when I just want that little bit of extra glam, pizzazz, and I just really like having them in sometimes, and I like the hairstyles that you can do with them. I feel like they're very fun a lot of times. The second example of how I started investing in my natural beauty was with skincare. I used to get makeup subscriptions. I used to run to Ulta for the latest beauty products. I had a subscription to something called Lilac Street, which was for lashes. So they give you a set pair of lashes every single month, and you have the under eye glue, and these lashes stay on for like 7 days. And I'm not going to lie, I love that brand. I still love that brand. I will never stop loving that brand. I use them for special occasions all the time. I never got into the habit of getting my lashes done at a salon just because I was a broke girl. Okay, so you would not catch me at the lash salon getting $300 lashes and then getting them refilled every few weeks for $80. No, that would not be me. But I'm not going to lie, guys. Lashes are the one thing, like if you had to choose something of what I'm talking about now to still continue doing for yourself, I think lashes do have a good payoff to get them done because you don't have that burden of taking mascara off every single day after a long day at work. You only have to worry about washing off the rest of your makeup. So to some people, that's actually pretty worth it. So guys, I don't gatekeep. I get all of my skincare products from Ross and Marshalls because they actually resell things that would be at Macy's or Ulta for $8. That's how much my serum costs. That's how much my face lotion costs. They're really good products. So it actually doesn't cost that much to have a good skincare routine. I know oftentimes there's a lot of stuff on TikTok, a lot of stuff on Ulta ads telling you need this $80 skincare set, and that's just not true. Just really work on developing a good skincare routine for yourself. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be 10 steps, but it just has to be consistent. Make it something that you romanticize before bed. Make it kind of like a little spa night for yourself. That's your way of telling your body that you're unwinding and that you're relaxing. And if you're still going to bed with makeup in 2026, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
For me, building a good skincare routine helped me get to the point where I gained confidence and to the point where I don't feel like I need to wear foundation every single day to cover up my skin. I love me a good lipstick, okay? But sometimes spending money on some chapstick or lip oil that you can keep around to hydrate your lips instead of, because sometimes when you just put on too much lipstick, I know my lips just kept getting crusty because I was never actually hydrating them or taking care of them. Or in the summer, putting SPF on your lips. I think that's not talked about enough, how much our lips actually need sunscreen too. And speaking of tanning, let's talk about tanning beds. If you are someone who no longer wants to go to the tanning bed and wants to invest in skincare for yourself, I would definitely recommend as an alternative getting a membership to something like a red light therapy. Oftentimes they also have saunas there or other ways of taking care of your skin. And so I think that's definitely a better investment in the long run than doing a tanning bed or even buying one of those red light masks. I know they're really expensive. They're like $300, but that's probably about 4 months worth of a membership somewhere. And so you would make that money up pretty fast. Okay, don't hate me for saying this, but spray tans, okay? They have come a long way. It's not like that Friends episode where Ross gets orange. Maybe some of them are, but a lot of the ones that I've been to recently are actually really good. And it shocked me how much technology has come since they first came out. I went to this place that had red light therapy, saunas, and then they also had spray tans. And I asked them, I said, if I do this spray tan, am I going to be orange? And they said, no. And then I said, is this spray tan going to stick to my bed? And they said, no. I tried it. And guys, I did not believe them, but they were right. I was not orange and the tanning spray did not stick to my bed. So I think that's actually a really good alternative as well. And I know we've been talking a lot about the external, but I do want to dive a little bit into the internal and how that does affect the external. Let's talk hormones. Invest in a good pH wash and face wash, and then also supplements. I think that our money is better to be put towards those kind of things instead of things that are going to cover up acne or cover up our stress. It's very important that you're balancing out your stress levels. And I think that definitely shows in your skin and in your hair. If you're eating a lot of protein, your hair needs protein to grow. So if you're taking care of yourself and having a good balanced diet, that's going to show in your hair and your skin. And the effect that stress has on a woman's body is so intense. And I know this firsthand because when I was the most stressed in my life, that was showing externally very much. You could just tell I was not my fittest. I was just not happy with who I was. I wasn't glowing. To my next point about hormones, I didn't discover this for the longest time, and I don't know why I didn't make this connection, but your stress levels directly affect your skin and your hair. Okay, I know that sounds a little bit obvious, but I really didn't put it together until about 2 years ago. So investing in something like a yoga studio, or it doesn't even have to be something that you're paying money for. It can literally just be doing those things at home, just doing some yoga, meditation, reading a book. Literally, it could be anything. Just that alone time is so important and so overlooked sometimes because oftentimes we feel like we don't have the time to put the effort into ourselves and spend time with ourselves, but it's so important and it affects us externally a lot. Similarly to the hair extensions, when I did all of these things for my skin, I felt so ugly at first. Like, I'm not even going to beat around the bush with that, but I felt so ugly. And that's because I was not taking care of my skin before that. So this is the first time that I was going bare. I really just didn't feel like myself. And I don't know if that's because I wasn't used to seeing myself with a more natural look, or if that was just because I wasn't taking care of my skin for so long that it just didn't look nice. And I didn't like going out in public without makeup covering it up. I didn't feel like my skin tone had an even complexion, and I just really didn't feel like I was glowing. So it did take a few weeks. And guys, this is not going to be easy, okay? It's going to take a few weeks of consistency, routine, and also just reminding yourself that it's going to be worth it. It might not seem like it now, but you just have to keep reminding yourself of those things, of the end goal, and just think to yourself, in the future, when I'm 40 years old, do I want to have like bald spots in my hair because I was wearing tape and extensions for so long? Do I want to have terrible skin complexion because I slept in my makeup or because I wasn't doing a skincare routine? I wasn't investing in those things. I was investing in instant gratification instead of thinking of things in the long term. Is that where you want to be? For me, that was a no, okay? And if, like I said, if this does not resonate with you, then that is a-okay. But that's just what conclusion I came to in my life. And I realized those were not the things that I wanted to build for myself and keep continuing with. I love doing my hair and I love doing my makeup. And I think it's really cool the different things that we can do with heat tools and eyeshadow. And it just really feels like an art form. So I don't want anyone to feel like this is kind of a dig at just something they just love to do. I love going to conventions and doing cosplay and doing my hair and makeup. And I think that stuff is so fun. So if this is like an art form for you and that's the reason like why you do all of that, like I said, I'm not anti any of these things. I'm just speaking to people who feel like they're covering up an identity. And if that's you, hopefully this resonated with you. As always, if you are not subscribed, go subscribe. Give this video a like and leave a comment down below. I would really appreciate and love it if you shared it with your friends. I'm just trying to build up this channel and I'm just so excited to have a community right here with me where I feel like I can be myself. You guys can feel like you can be yourselves. And I just want to share just some of the things that I've learned over the past few years with you guys and just give you some wellness tips, day in the life, all of that. If that's the kind of content that you like to see, then go subscribe. Thank you guys. See you on the next.